everyone, this is Lisa Dickinson here today with an inspiration video where I'll show you how I use a print ad as a starting point for a scrapbook page. I'll be creating a two-page layout using similar elements to the magazine ad, and I'll walk you through my design process as I create. So let's get started. I find inspiration for my pages just about everywhere, but one of my favorite places to look is in fashion magazines. It might seem like an unlikely source, but there are really some great design concepts to be found. This is the October issue of In Style, and the piece I'm going to be using as a starting point is this makeup ad from L'Oreal. At first glance, this spread might not spark an immediate idea for a scrapbook page, but it caught my eye because of the large photo that fills most of this left-hand side. I've been wanting to scrap some family photos that were shot by a local photographer, and ideally I want to include enlarged prints because they're good quality photos that would really make an impact if they were printed at a large size. So I could follow the ad composition with a large photo on this side, and then over here, since this is an ad for makeup, they're featuring all the various bottles, but I think I could replicate this look with circles of paper or maybe circular embellishments arranged in a grid. That would leave a spot below for my journaling where they have the ad copy, and then down here I could add my title. So basically, I'm using the compositional structure of the ad to lay out my page, much the same way you would use a sketch to help you arrange your elements. So I've printed the photo that I want to use on this spread. It's a black and white shot, which is always fun to work with because you're not limited by color palette. And it's a shot of my husband and I with our kids playing in the background. And I've printed it 12 inches tall by about 8 inches wide. So that will be the only photo that I'm going to feature on this two-page spread, but it will leave me a ton of room to have a little bit of fun with pattern and color and lots of embellishments. And speaking of pattern and color, today I'm going to be working with a new collection from Crate Paper called Open Book. It's designed by Maggie Holmes, and it's truly a gorgeous collection. It's a mix of florals and some stripes. There's lots of geometrics, and the color palette is soft but not too girly. There are lots of aquas and yellows, black, that balance out all the pinks and corals. I love all these touches of black. But that gives you a little bit of a peek at some of the papers from this line. And I have gone ahead and selected two of them to serve as my background. They're both ivory based with a text overlay. And they're pretty neutral, but they're definitely more interesting than just having a plain cardstock base. When I'm doing a double page spread, the first thing I like to do is secure the two halves together so they aren't sliding around while I'm designing. I just use Scotch tape on the back sides of the papers, and I tape them together right at the seam. So this is really easy to cut apart later to put it in the album, but it helps keep the canvas together while you're working. Just like in the ad, I'm positioning my photo on the left side, and then I want to recreate that grid of circles on the right. And using a variety of the crate papers that I showed you earlier, I have punched out circles that are about 1 3/4 inches in size, and I'll link the specific punch that I used in the supply list. But I tried to incorporate a lot of these different colors and patterns. Since I have a neutral background and this large black and white photo, this is the one spot that I really want color on the layout to be. So here are all the circles, and I'm going to arrange them much like the bottles were arranged in the magazine ad, in a slightly staggered grid that continues off the edges of the page. I have a polka dot grid set up on the right, I'm thinking that I need something just as colorful over here on the left side, just to connect the two pages visually. I know this wasn't an element in the original ad, but I've punched some additional paper circles to add into this lower corner. Most magazine ads are going to be pretty solid designs, but don't be afraid to tweak them to fit your page. I'm not using the two large dark photos on my spread like the magazine did, so I need to have another way to create flow between the sides, and adding this group of circles will do that. Alright, with my two circle grids laid out, I'm now going to start layering some things on top of these circles to add dimension and texture. The first package of things that I grabbed are from the Crate Paper Open Book Ephemera Pack, and you can see this has lots of various die cuts and tags. Here's all the shapes on the back. And I pulled out several of the circular shapes. I'm going to layer those over some of the similarly colored circles that are in my grids. When I'm building up layers like this, I always try to keep each element consistent in color. So I'll add black things to the black circles and orange things to the orange circles, and that just helps keep it visually organized, especially when you have so many elements on a page like this. You don't want it to get too chaotic. I've also punched some smaller circles from pattern papers, and these are about 1.25 inches, and I'm going to add them on top of a few of these larger circles. Maybe put this pink one down here, kind of like that. And next I have some non-circular die cuts that are from the ephemera pack that I showed you earlier. These are tags and tickets, a little banner, and I want to try to work these in. For now, I'm just going to lay them on top of the circles to get an idea if they'll work, and then I'll go back and trim them. Like this one, I'm layering it over here, and obviously I would trim off the overhang before I finalize the design. Maybe put that one right there. So another fun product that I want to incorporate are these flower shapes from the Crate Open Book line. And this pack includes both cardstock and vellum shapes, and it has flowers and leaves. And some of these smaller ones might fit perfectly inside the circles. So here are some of the smaller flowers from that pack, and I'd like to work a few of them into the grid. They're still generally a round shape, so they fit nicely in the circles, but they add a bit of contrast against the smooth sides. That's what I'm looking for as I build up all these layers, is a good mix of shapes and textures that just help add interesting details to my design. An obvious choice for embellishing my circles are these fabric brads, since they echo the circular shapes that I've already got going on. And the fabric adds a different texture and also some dimension to the page. Another product that's great at adding dimension is chipboard, and there's a few shapes on this crate sheet that I think I can work in. This little circle with the heart could go there. Then there's also some linear shapes in these little sentiments down here at the bottom. This one that says loved. I'd like to include just a few linear elements in the center of the circles. And I think that will help balance out all the curves that are in the grid just by adding a few straight lines in there. Next, I've got some stickers. And you can see I'm going a bit crazy with all of these different types of embellishments, but all of these are from the same crate collection, so I know that they'll coordinate, and that makes it easy to include a lot of different products. When I'm not working with one manufacturer exclusively, I like to pull elements that coordinate from my stash and kind of make an embellishment kit beforehand. And then I can just pull pieces from that I want, and it eliminates the guesswork. I like adding in these stickers because they don't add any bulk and they can easily be tucked behind more dimensional items like the chipboard. And not all of these circles need a ton of layers. Some of them will be just fine with a simple phrase sticker or two. Right now I'm considering where to put my title. Maybe up here, possibly down in this area where the brand name appeared in the ad. But either way, I know that I'd like to use this set of gold glitter thickers because they'll add some sparkle without introducing a whole new color to my page. The word story is one of the stickers, and my journaling is going to tell the story of our family, so it would be perfect to use. Sometimes I have a page title in mind before I start a design, and sometimes, like today, I'll select the title of my page based on the product that I have to use. So I'm just going to grab my clear ruler to kind of help position my title, and I'm going to stick this word here, and then I can move it around on the page and get an idea of where I think it will look best. I'm leaning towards putting it in this white space in the photo. The ad has similar copy that runs through white space in the photo on it, and I like the way it kind of ties into the grid. I could use the word our to complete the title off of here, but I really like to mix fonts and different stickers in my title. So I've grabbed these gold thickers that are a smaller typewriter font, and I'm thinking about spelling out the word our, the O-U-R, with these smaller stickers. And they'll coordinate with the larger glitter word, but they'll also add a little bit of interest by being different. I'll go ahead and add these 3 little letters to the ruler as well. And I just like that that gives me an idea of how it's going to look before I commit to actually sticking it down. Now for my journaling, I selected a piece of pattern paper that would slightly contrast with my background, and I cut out a piece that I plan to slip in right down here. On the ad, the copy kind of appeared in a similar spot. But my background paper already has text printed on it, so I can't write my journaling directly on top of it or it wouldn't show up too well. So I'm using this piece of paper and I'll type my journaling onto it instead. I've gone ahead and typed my journaling onto this rectangle of paper. I just created a text box in Word that was the same size as the rectangle, and then I printed it directly on the paper. And with that done, I'm looking at my title and thinking that once it's stuck down, I'd like to incorporate a few more touches of gold around the design. I do have a few pieces with this metallic, like this tag and the banner, but I'd like to add it in a few more spots just so it's sprinkled around evenly. So this sheet of title stickers has a few smaller elements like these hearts that I could work into some of the blank circles. Maybe that one right there. And then I also have the typewriter keys that I used in my title. And I'm just going to grab the D and put it inside this circle as kind of a little monogram. D for Dickinson. And then finally, I think I'm going to grab a few of the little sentiment stickers off of this sheet of metallic stickers. This is also from the Maggie Holmes Open Book line. And maybe just put that in there. So now I have metallic gold touches that are kind of scattered all throughout my design. I'm going to add one more little heart. oops, over here. Just tuck it under this sticker. And then my next step is to go ahead and assemble all of these little circles that I have just temporarily laying out. I'm going to actually glue things down, trim them up. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I will be back to finish up the layout. While I was assembling my circles, I decided to add some lines of stitching to the background with my sewing machine. Before I did that, I lightly drew in pencil lines that are about 2 inches apart just to sketch out the grid and give me some guidelines, and then I went back and added the stitching with gray thread. And these grids are going to serve two purposes. One, they will help me as I start to align these circles in a grid just to get them all centered and straight. And then secondly, it's going to provide a connection to the background of the page that will kind of help ground these grids and keep them from looking like they're just floating around. Here's a look at everything adhered down. You can see I added some twine to a few of the circles, and I've used foam adhesive on some of the layers just for added dimension. It's a large spread for just one photo, but this design allowed me to focus on one of my favorite parts of scrapbooking, the embellishing, with this fun circle grid. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm hoping you've been encouraged to look at ads in a whole new way and see how various elements within them can inspire a fun scrapbook page. For more info and projects, don't forget to visit my blog at lisadickinson.typepad.com. Bye for now.